another interesting topic because this is blowing up all over. I I don't know. So one thing I will say, I think my first reaction when I heard this news was, it's better late than never. I guess is what I would say because like Tim Tebow from the moment he came in the NFL should have been a fullback tight end hybrid, and he would have been incredibly successful at that position because that's what he should have been. He needs to be a fullback tight end. He would have developed his catching ability, and he would have been a great fullback tight end in this entire, NFL scheme. He would have been like a Kyle Juszczyk. So the fact that he wasn't utilized that and he tried his best to become a quarterback, I don't, that I don't get. So it was just kind of, it's one of those where he tried his best to become a quarterback and never succeeded. Should have switched earlier in his career to a fullback tight end, but I guess better late than never. Here we are. Now, the one thing I will say is I kind of agree with people in saying that it's ridiculous that he's getting a chance before a guy like a Colin Kaepernick ever got one. Yeah, listen, it's the NFL. We all know that there is some hardcore blackballing that was happening with Colin Kaepernick. We all know that was happening. It's unfortunate and wish that it wasn't happening, but situations are different and everything, and it's one of those where, Tim Tebow knows Urban Meyer. Obviously, Urban Meyer, Tim Tebow basically made Urban Meyer a lot of money in his college career, being as successful as he was because of the two championships he won with him. So,
Oh, so he was his
it
head coach. I didn't know this.
yeah,
Okay.
he was his head coach in Florida
Okay.
when he won both the national championships and the Heisman. He was the head coach. So that's why he's coming into the Jaguars, is because Urban Meyer is now running the Jaguars basically, and he wants his guy. That's why if you looked at all the acquisitions the Jaguars made, like they're literally like they signed, an ex Ohio State wide receiver. They signed an ex running back from Ohio State. They signed, now they're getting Tim Tebow from his Florida days when he was coaching. So he's literally just running it back with a bunch of players that he knows from his college days. And so it's not surprising that Tim Tebow was one of the people that got a chance to do that. Now, will Tim Tebow be successful? I don't know. I don't know. If he can learn how to catch the ball, yeah, then he will. I don't know how they're gonna utilize him. Like, I don't know if he's going to be out there as a tight end running routes catching the ball, or if he's gonna be used more of a blocking, fullback type of tight end. I don't really know. It's one of those where we just have to see what their plan is for him, and if he makes the roster. He makes the
Yeah.
53-man roster the day one. Obviously that's a big what if. Apparently, I know I listened to an interview with Urban Meyer where basically he was trying to dispel, um, stories out there that he was spending too much time evaluating Tebow rather than like actually running the organization. And he tried to dispel that basically by saying that the meetings that had happened between the Jaguars and Tim Tebow were separate, and he had not gone to those meetings. They were his people that had gone there and then reported back to him. That's what he tried to say. Whether that's true or not in its capacity, who knows how much time he was spending trying to get Tebow there. They did multiple workouts with Team Tebow, so I know it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting because usually that's not the case. So obviously there's some favoritism going on there. It's one of those where, like I said, if Tim Tebow's utilized correctly and is able to learn what he needs to learn, then I think he'll be a good player in the position. It's just a little too it's like I said, better late than never, but like also very close to being very too late
Yeah.
because he's 33 years old and your athleticism, I don't care who you are, starts to go. And it's one of those where he's trying to now, bank off of his athleticism and him just being a football player. It's one of those where it could be successful. It also could be absolutely terrible and he doesn't even make the roster. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think about this whole signing?
I thought it was funny that people were usually bringing up like, oh, he's taking away a bunch of like roster time from other tight ends, and I was like, oh, who are the tight ends on the Jaguars at the same
Yeah,
time?
they're not good. One of them's from Illinois State, so shout out to him, Shaughnessy. But obviously they're not fantastic. I think their tight ends last year combined for like 300 yards receiving. So like
I think Tyler
I'm
Eifert was there too. I don't think he's re-signed, but I think he was
yeah, but did
there.
he even play? Like I don't even remember him being on the team or like even playing or existing. So I don't, who knows. But
Yeah.
Like I said, it's one of those where if Tim Tebow can actually catch the ball and run some routes, he'll play and he'll be fine. I just don't know if he can do that at 33 years old. So we'll see.
Yeah, if his body can even hold up.
Yeah, I know. It's a fun, interesting type, why offenses just use 6 offensive lines and save a roster spot. Yeah, I get why is because it's always what it is it's always the threat of something happening. Having a tight end out there as the extra offense line blocker, even if he's a blocking tight end and most people know that, it's one of those where like he could run out and catch a pass, and that's the threat of that is what adds the dynamic where defenses at some point have to honor that because at some point those guys are usually going to be used in routes. And when that happens, if they break open, on a play, it's the same concept of, well, then now we have to watch him and we have to be on, he keeps the defense honest, is what I'm trying to say, basically. It's like throwing Tariq Cohen out there and having him block like once a game or twice a game on passing plays, or having him run up the middle once or twice a game. You do that, yeah, it doesn't work because it's Tariq Cohen. He's 5'6". He shouldn't run up the middle. But if you only do it a couple times a game, there's the threat that he could. Defenses have to honor that. So if you catch a linebacker slightly hesitating on seeing Tariq Cohen, fake up the middle and go outside, if he even slightly hesitates on that fake up the middle, then Tariq Cohen's getting outside of him, and that's yards. That's positive yards that the offense will get. So it's always the threat is what happens, and that's why blocking tight ends are tight ends and not offensive linemen or extra offensive linemen. It's because there's the threat they could still go out and catch a pass.